This conference will now be recorded.
You can see my screen, right? Yes. Yeah. So morning we have gone through the Snowflake architecture part of it. Now let's look at the data ingestion. So data ingestion in Snowflake, right? It's kind of into three areas. One is structured data ingestion, and then semi-structured data ingestion, and then these two can be done from on-premise to cloud or cloud to cloud. So on-premise to cloud means you have a file in your local file system, in your Linux box or in your laptop, and you want to load that into Snowflake. So where is Snowflake sitting? Snowflake sitting on the cloud. So that means on-prem to cloud. And then you can do structured, you can do semi-structured, and then the same way, if you have files in your AWS S3 buckets or Azure blobs, how do you get into Snowflake? This is another one. So first we'll see on-prem to cloud. That means from your local machines to Snowflake. How can we do that? So all of them is based on the same principle. You have to have a stage environment, and then from there you'll be loading the data into Snowflake. So data ingestion in Snowflake is two-step process. First, you push your file into staging area or staging area, and from there you push it into the table. Okay, so Snowflake is kind of little synonymous to data warehouses. They want to have their terminology, everything similar to data warehouse, the physical warehouse I'm talking about. So, for example, you have a physical warehouse and you get your stuff through trucks, and then you unload them or you put them into the staging area, and from there you organize inside Snowflake in your warehouse. The same way, if you want to ship something from a warehouse, right, you get them into staging area. From there, you load them into trucks, and they they get carried away. Guys, hold on one second. Let me plug in my charger power. I'm running out of battery. Okay. Sorry, guys. So you guys can hear me, right? So I have some audio issues, so I keep on checking with you to make sure that I'm audible. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So they are little synonymous with the physical warehouse. That's what I was talking about, right? So normally in any technology, right, they call it as import export. In Snowflake, they call it as loading unloading, because you're loading something into the warehouse, you're unloading from the warehouse, kind of thing. Okay. So as you have a staging area in front of the physical warehouse, or near the physical warehouse where you dump all your stuff. From there it gets organized inside the physical warehouse. They have something called a staging area. So you have to push your files into the staging area. From there you can load into the tables. The same way unloading, this is called loading, data loading. And unloading means you are trying to get data from your tables into the, by generating file into the staging area. From there you get the data out of the staging area. Okay, so staging area is key. That's what it is. Okay, let's see what we have here. So if you look at this diagram, right, how to load data into Snowflake, and the loading is called bulk loading. So if you look at this, this is data files, this is from your local file system, and then this is, you see this Amazon S3 symbol, S3 buckets, Azure blobs, and Google storage. Any of them, you can load the data into a table. So while you're trying to load data, right, if it's on the cloud, then you can directly load into a table. But still you should have a staging area. But if you have in your local file system, right, you have to push it into a stage or the staging area, and from there you load into the table. So how do you load? So let's, and this particular process is called bulk loading. Okay, and there is another thing called continuous loading. If you look at this one, right, there is a data files, and then you see this, what is this, ingestion queue and ingestion service and pipe, and then into the table. And this particular thing is called snow pipe. Using snow pipe you can do continuous loading. Continuous loading means loading via frequency. That means every half an hour, every 10 minutes, every 15 minutes, or 20 minutes, you get the data feed and you load it into the table. That is via snow pipe.
It's a kind of incremental load, Sekhar.
Yeah, you can say it's, yeah, incremental load. You can say that as well. But the data that comes, yeah, maybe first time once you do the full load, the incremental part of it comes every feed, basically every 5 minutes, based on a frequency. Okay, and then if you look at this diagram, right, you have the table here, and these are the data files on premise local file system. You can put your files into stages, and there are three stages that are available in Snowflake. One stage is the one that you create, like a table, create table, table name, create stage name. That is user created stage. The user will be creating this particular stage. And the other two are system given stages. One is a table stage. Each table has a stage by itself. You can load the data into a table stage, and from there you can load it into a table. Okay, you use put command to load it into a stage. From there we use copy command to load it into a table. This copy command is called bulk copy command because this runs in parallel. Okay, I'll show you all the details how that can be done. And then, and the other one is user stage. So table stage is whomever has access to the table, they can access this particular staging area, and there is a private space for each and every user, and that particular thing is called user stage. To do these operations, you need a virtual warehouse. Got it? Okay. Snowflake data loading. Data can be done limited data set, bulk data, continuous data. Limited data means ad hoc data. As and when you require, if you want to load 100k, 50k, 20k, 30k, that is not a regular thing. So they call it as a limited data set. And bulk data means you get your full data set, thousands of records, millions of records, and you schedule them automatically, or you get incremental data 50k, 30k. That kind of thing is called bulk data. Okay. Continuous data means, as we spoke, right? The continuous feed, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. This Snowpipe is a separate chapter altogether. We'll talk about Snowpipe separately, but we're gonna see the other scenarios and everything now. Okay. And then what is it? Limited data set. That's what I told you, right? Ad hoc. So you can load the data based on as per your need basis, done usually using web UI. So this is a GUI interface, and then that can be done using web UI. So what is web UI? I'm asking you guys a question.
It's a Snowflake interface, like how we are going to do
Yeah, so
graphical, I mean, user interface.
yeah, so that is web user interface that you can log into your account using any of the browsers, and that particular thing is called, after logging in, that's called web UI.
Some sound is coming.
Yeah. They have muted themselves. Okay. Bear with them, please. Couple of minutes. Okay.
Actually, we
And then
have web. Yeah, 1 minute. We have a web UA and command line interface, right? We generally in organization, which one is generally preferred, Shekhar?
so it depends upon the use case. When you are trying to run your jobs from the background, we use command line interface. And if you are trying to push your files into the cloud, you need SnowSQL, the command line interface. You can use Python, you can use JDBC, ODBC, or you should use SnowSQL. That is the only media that you can push your data into Snowflake. Okay. So coming back, right? So small sets of data loading using GUI interface. We'll see how that can be loaded. Okay. The bulk data done usually using SnowSQL, using ETL tools, large files parallel processing. So when we talk about bulk loading or bulk copy, we are going to do a lot of data ingestion using parallel mechanisms, and that is called bulk loading and bulk copy. And how can you do that? You can use NoSQL, you can use any ETL tool, and then you can do this particular thing. Okay. Continuous data loading data continuously using Snowpipe. So this is, as I mentioned, this is a separate chapter altogether. Okay. So we talked about the staging area, right? So Snowflake is the only one which has a staging area. All the other technologies, right? You have to load it into staging table or staging schema, and then you have a table inside it. You have to load it into a staging table. But there is no technology which has staging area where you can just push in your files, and from there you can push in into your table. Okay. As I mentioned, there are different stages. One is user created stage. That is also called named stage. In named stage means you are creating a stage and giving it a name, named stage. And it can be of two types. One is a permanent, one is temporary. So temporary means as long as you present in the session, it will be there. If you log out of the session, that particular stage is gone. And the files that you have put into the stage is also gone. Okay. And table stage, as I mentioned, right? The first one Each table will have a stage. The advantage of table stage, right? If you have access to that particular table, then you can have the access to the stage as well. Okay, so that is called table stage. So if you have 5 people and then 5 people can access the particular query that particular table, then they have access to the table stage as well. And table stage is system created one. You don't have authority to create a table stage. Okay, named stage is the one that you create, permanent and temporary. So before, whenever you're trying to create or replace stage name, that's it. Okay, and then if you want to create a temporary one, create or replace temporary stage name, that's it, plain and simple. Let's do some action as well, you'll get to know, but for now you just try to understand the theory part of it. And then you have a user stage. Each user will have a stage by itself, and then you have an external stage. External stage is that when you are trying to talk to the cloud from AWS S3 buckets or Azure blobs or Google storage, the cloud to cloud is called external stage. It's just a bridge. It's not a staging area. You can still push. You cannot put files in that. You just have a link between these two so that you can go ahead and look at the data and then load the data into Snowflake. Okay. So let's look into the stage. Yeah, table stage. Each table has a Snowflake stage allocated to it by default. Okay, so it's a convenient option. One second, guys. So this is multiple users who have access to the table stage, right? They can load the data into the table stage and then they can they can load it to a table. Okay. So if you keep on talking to you, right, you might have too many questions. Let's do some action and come back and then look at the um,
So
if you look at this diagram, right, you have to use a put command to load it into a stage, from there to table stage or to the table. As we talked about, it's a two-step process, right? Using put command, you put it into stages. You can put it into table stage, internal stage. Internal stage is nothing but named stage, and then the user stage. Okay, and then from there you can load it into a table using copy command. Okay, and let's see. Okay, so how do you look at a stage? So you have to use, if you want to look at the contents of a stage, you have to use list command, and if you want to see what are all the stages, you have to use show stages command. Let me log into snowsql-c dev. This is my font visible. Do you want me to increase the font?
Shekhar, just you can increase a little bit.
Yeah, I did increase it. Let's wait until I did increase. I don't know whether it's medium. It should be. Let me log in back. Okay. I think this is the max is large. Okay. Mm. SnowSQL -c def. Okay, I got connected. I'll say show stages. So these are the stages that are there in my system. So if you look at it, external stage, internal stage, internal stage, internal stage. My test stage, my temp stage, my stage, my S3 stage. This is an external, cloud to cloud. This is internal stage. Okay. So how do we create a stage? I'll just, there is a stage called my stage, right? I'm gonna drop this, drop stage, my stage. Okay. Create or replace stage, my stage. This is how we can create a stage.
So, Shekhar, you are created the warehouse inside the warehouse, right?
Yeah, this is inside, this is in the cloud. You have created the stage inside a database, inside a schema.
Okay, inside the schema, you are created the stage.
Yes, my stage is inside the schema. See, if I say show stages, it shows my stage, which is part of SFDB, SF schema, and the owner is sysadmin.
Okay.
Okay. If I want to see the current owner, right, I can see select current, and whatever I'm typing here can be typed in worksheet as well. The only advantage, right, here it's like an IDE, integrated development environment. It helps me. It shows me by auto popping whatever I'm trying to do. Okay, it's current user. If you want to see current role, right, sysadmin. Okay, so now we have, how many stages are there? Table stage, named stage, named stage temporary one, and then user stage, right? So if you want to look at the contents, if you want to see what are all the stages that you are present, you can use show stages, but show stages only shows user created stages, not the system created ones. What are the system created ones? You have to be interactive, guys. Then only I can understand that you are trying to digest something. So what are the system created stages that we talked about?
User stages and table stages.
Yeah, user stage and table stage. Okay. Uh, if you want to look at the contents of the stage, right, you can use list at the rate of, list is the keyword to see what are all the files in your stage at the rate of my stage. Because we did not push any data into it, it is null. So table stage, I have a table called emp. Show tables like emp. Emp should be SF schema. So now list at the rate of, So whenever you're trying to look at the table stage, right? So the user stage, you can directly write at the rate of name of the stage. If you are referring to a table stage, you have to refer by percentage and the table name. At the rate is mandatory for all of the stages, whether it's user stage or table stage or a named stage. Three of them you need at the rate symbol. List at the rate of stage name. And if you're trying to refer to a table stage, you have to refer using percentage table name. Okay, I'll say show tables, right? And parts is another table name. List at the rate of percentage PRTS. So nothing here, only EMP. I have loaded something, so you're able to see that. And you can use up array to go through the queries that you have typed, and you can use basically, yeah. Okay,
So,
this is
what is percentage used for, sir?
percentage is a notation. If you want to look at the contents of a table state at the rate of, and you have to name percent and EMP, then Snowflake can identify, okay, somebody is asking me to show the contents of the table stage. What are the files that are present in the table stage? And table name, percent table name, it automatically shows the stage that is corresponding to that particular table.
So the table stores the records. I mean, each record by record, or it will store the entire file.
Entire file. If you look at
Stores
this, right?
as a file.
Yeah, emb.csv.gunzip. This is a file. Okay.
What is this
The
MD5 Shaker here?
MD5 is the signature of the file. For example, it identifies what type. So normally whenever you do file transformation, for sorry, file ingestion or anything, right? They look at whether the file is corrupted or not, and what is the type of the file, and then when was the file created. So they have a signature for each file. That is nothing but MD5.
Okay.
So MD5, it has an abbreviation. What is it? I forgot the abbreviation. One second. So MD5 hash, I know that abbreviation. Message digest algorithm 5. So there is a way that you can identify whether, for normally this happens with everything. Whenever you download a file from your a web or somewhere else, right? The MD5 will work, and then make sure after the downloading, the MD5 hash of the file that is there in the web and the MD5 that you have downloaded, it compares, and then if it's both of them are same, then you can open the file. If not, it says the file is corrupted. Itself, when you are trying to open the file, it says the file is corrupted. So this is one way of identifying that the file is intact. Okay. And when was it last modified? Okay. So, and if you look at the user stage, right? List. And if you guys are familiar with Linux environment, right? If you want to go to the home directory, what is the command that you do?
Slash root directory.
Yeah, you want to go to your home directory. Whomever as a user logged in, you want to go to the
CD,
home directory.
yeah, CD space home.
CD tilt. CD tilt I use.
CD space tilde, tilde, right? So same way, okay. List at the rate of tilde. This is your user stage. And when you look at this, right? These are all the worksheet. By default, whatever the worksheets that you have, in your environment. Okay, so these are the worksheets. No no matter how many worksheets are there, so by default all the worksheet is these worksheets are auto saved. You type something and close the worksheet, or close the browser and open it back, the data that you have typed in the worksheet is auto saved. And where does it save it? It saves in the user stage. These are all the worksheet data, and you can still load files into the user stage. How do we load the files into the user stage? Using the put command. Okay, so now to recap, how many types of stages are there with us? You need to talk to me, please.
Shekhar sir, I have a question here.
Hmm.
Like for whether we are loading from table or file, stage is a mandatory or what?
Yes, stage is a mandatory thing where you have to get your files into the staging area or the stage, and then only you can load it into the table.
Even is it the same for table as well?
Table in the sense,
On-premises table. For example, I have on-premises Oracle table, and I wish to load to a direct table, I mean database in the Snowflake.
you
Can't
are
I do
using a,
that?
yeah, you are using a ETL tool or any other third party thing to load the data from source to target. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did that, but can't we do directly table to
Yes.
on-premises
Yes.
table to?
No, no, on premises, how do you do that? See, Oracle is a different system, Snowflake is a different system. You should have another tool, or you should use
Connectivity?
any connectivity. You can directly connect using JDBC, ODBC, Python, directly connect and insert into a table. That can be done.
Okay, okay. So when there is no bridge, it is mandatory to be place it in a stage and then load it to the particular table.
No, no, that is a convenience. So if you have a ETL tool, if you want to directly load it into a table, you can directly load into a table, but you're gonna lose something. I'll talk about that. Hold on your
Sure.
thoughts. Why we
Okay.
use copy command? Because parallelization happens. If you directly insert into a table, it's a serial mode. So we'll come back. I'll explain you why we have to use copy and all stuff. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Hold on your thoughts. And then so now we see this data, right? So how many types of stages are there?
User
We
and
user stage, and then
Yeah,
table stage, and then
and the
named
named
stage.
stage.
names.
So named stage, user stage, table stage. These are the three things. Okay.
Table
And
stage is having two things, permanent and temporary.
no, no, no. Table stage is only one. Named
O-
stage. Named stage means you are creating a stage by giving a name.
Okay.
Create or replace temporary
And what about
stage.
user stage?
My temp stage. User stage is the one that Snowflake gives you. Snowflake gives two stages, user stage and table stage. And the named stage is the one that you create. In the named stage, you can create a temporary one and you can create a permanent one.
So whatever the Snowflake giving those things, like we cannot do any modifications, right? What are the
Yes,
things we need to do? Create the table or like drop the table, especially on like named stage.
create
Whatever.
create this stage or drop this stage can only be done on named stage.
Okay.
Okay. So now I created a temporary stage. And if you want to look at the contents of the stage list at the rate of my term stage. I did not push any data, so you won't see anything. Okay. So if you want to look
This is
at the
user stage, right, Shekhar?
Hmm?
Now you created my term stage, right? This is user created stage.
Yeah, user created stage is called named stage,
No, whatever you
because
created, that one.
yeah, this is named stage.
Okay.
Each user will have a private space or a stage for himself. My user is S modem. S modem will have a private stage that is called user stage. And if you want to look at the contents in the user stage, you will say list at the rate of tilde, which has your worksheets, and you can still push your files into the stage and all this stuff. Are we clear?
Yeah.
See,
Yep.
named stage is the one that you create. Named stage, permanent, temporary. Table stage is given by Snowflake. The moment you create a table, you'll have a table stage created automatically. And then user stage is the one, each user who has logged into Snowflake will have a stage for himself.
Just now you created, right?
Sorry?
Just now you created this user stage.
Clear?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
Shekhar.
cannot, no, 1 second. I cannot create a user stage. I cannot create a table stage. Those are given by the system. I can only create a named stage.
Okay.
User, I can, I can create a named stage. So you're getting confused with the user stage and named stage, right?
Yes.
User stage is by default the tilde part of it, right? That is called user stage. That means whenever whomever is logged in, they have a private stage for themselves. Nobody can look at the data that is there in that particular stage. Only the user can look into it. That is called user stage. The named stage, you can give permissions on the named stage. The user who has logged in, right, he can create a stage, like create table name. So and then create stage name. That is called the named stage. And you can give permissions on the named stage to other users, so that it's like a accessibility. It's an object that you can, other folks can also access. But the user stage, which is a default stage given by Snowflake, it's only private to the user. Only the user who has logged in, he can only look at the contents of the stage. He can push contents into the stage.
Okay.
Are we clear, guys?
Shekhar.
Mm-hmm.
Shekhar, just to recap,
Mm-hmm.
so in Snowflake, we can't directly load the data into tables. We need to use stage area, so that first we need to put our data to that stage area, and from
Mm-hmm.
stage area we need to copy to Snowflake. That is the first point. Second
Mm-hmm.
point is the stages. There are typically three types of stages. Two are
Mm-hmm.
system created stages and one is user created stage. system
Yes.
created stages System created
Mm-hmm.
stages are why it has created three different types of stages is because for parallel processing. Means if in user stage only user can use it, no other people can use it.
Mm-hmm.
If a user want a secure data loading, he can go with the user stage. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if a multiple users want to load the same data, means
Mm-hmm.
multiple users want to load data into same table, then we need to go with the
Mm-hmm.
table stage. And third is the
Mm-hmm.
named stage, where it can be a
Mm-hmm.
permanent or temporary. This is used when a group of people working on can have a multiple, means they can work on multiple tables and at multiple times.
Yeah, you're 90% correct. To reiterate that, right? So there is an ETL team, and the ETL team wants to load the data into Snowflake. So not one person, right? There can be a number of people working the ETL team. So you create, the admin creates a named stage, and then they'll give permissions on the named stage to multiple people, so that multiple people can push data into the named stage, and from there they can load into a table. Are we clear? That is for the named stage, and it can be temporary, it can be permanent. Okay, and then so the other two is system given stages. So the system given stages, you don't need to worry about it. It's given by the Snowflake itself, and you cannot modify anything in this stage. You can just, if it's a table, whomever has access to the table, there might be 10 people who has access to the table. They can load data into the particular table stage. From there, they can put in the data into the particular table stage, and from there they can load it into a table. And user is only you. Whatever the data that you want to load into any of the table that you have access, you can get the data, and from there you can load into it. Okay. Are we clear?
Hello. Yeah, just one question that I think we only deal with the named stage.
Yes.
I mean, when we work with the dev, isn't it?
Yeah. Normally we deal with named stage, or people sometimes use table stage. User stage is very rare unless until you are trying to do something of your own, then you use user stage. Or all the worksheets whenever you open, right there, that is a placeholder. Staging is nothing but a folder in Snowflake in the cloud, where you can keep your files. From there you can copy the load the data into the load the files into the table.
Yes. And the table stage is basically already been created by Snowflake. It's a kind of one that let's say we have 100 trees which are uh, uh, from the which are already created in Snowflake.
No, no,
Directly to the
unless
table stage,
no,
isn't it?
table stage, if you create a table, the stage is already, stage also gets created already.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
whenever you create a table, the table stage gets
Okay.
created. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then so now you understand, right? So if you want to see what are all the stages in my system, how can I see that?
Show stages.
Show stages will show you. And what will the show stages show you?
Only user created.
Named stages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and named stages are always internal. Okay, let me show you. Show, they are also called internal stages. Different terminologies, apart from that, nothing else. Show stages. So I have created a stage and internal. So if you're trying to create a stage from the cloud, right, that is called external. Cloud to cloud is called external. The other things is called internal. Okay. So if you create a temporary stage, right, create or replace temporary stage, it's internal temporary. Okay. If I want to see what are all the contents in the table stage, how do I see that?
The, we
Yeah,
need
what
to
is the
give
command that?
the list command
Yes, list
list at the
at
rate
the rate of, for table stage, how do you note them? Percentage.
percentile. Mm,
EMP. This is the table stage. And if you want to see the contents of a named stage, list at the rate of my stage. Okay.
So system defined stages we need to use at the rate percentile symbol. Named stages.
No, no. System defined table stage you have to use at the rate of percentage.
Okay.
System defined user stage at the rate of tilde.
Okay. Okay.
Are we clear?
Yep.
How do we know that whether the user created stage are temporary or permanent?
You say show stages. Okay, 1 second, hold on. Show stages like, and then, for example, you're taking for temp, right? %temp. My temp stage. What is it? The type? Internal temporary. And then if we come out of this session, right? And then now I'm let me connect back. Okay. If I say show stages again, right? So this is a different one. It's internal. So I created, I used the name just temp, but it's not temporary. The moment it's gone, it's gone.
It is only for that particular session.
Session or for 24 hours. So that particular thing stays there for 24 hours. After 24 hours, the stage is gone. Or if you log out of the session, the stage is gone. Okay. It should not be there. Okay. This is pretty much. And then, so this is what it is, right? So user stage list at the rate of tilde, table stage list at the rate of person my table, internal named stage list at the rate of table, external stage list at the rate of external stage. This is how you can look at the contents of the stages. And there are some advantages, disadvantages of the stages. So when you have a table stage, multiple people can access it. When you have a user stage, only you can access it. Okay. Internal name stage, multiple people can access it. Okay. And then the only thing that so when you talk about internal stage, right? The internal stage, you can associate a file format to it. That means you can tell this particular stage holds or this particular placeholder or this particular folder houses all CSVs or houses all JSONs or houses all Parquet files. So you can mention the file format that can be, you can load any other file format, but when you mention the file format, right, then it has an advantage. Only the user stage has the advantage of it. So users, that means internal named stage, right? When you create it, you can associate a file format with it.
Okay.
Okay. So external stages connect to S3 buckets, Azure Blob, GCP storage, and all this stuff. Okay. So we'll see all the examples. Don't worry. So data loading, data and file formats, right? So whenever you look at it, right, this is, we talked about limited data. When you have some ad hoc data loading things, then you can use web UI and load the data. And if you have bulk data, right, you can use NoSQL, any ETL tool or Snowpipe to load the data into Snowflake. Okay. And the file formats can be of type CSV structured. CSV means you can have comma separated values, tab separated values, and pipe separated values, special character separated values. There are a number of things that you can use. They're all structured formats. Semi-structured means JSON, Avro, Parquet, ORC, XML. I forgot to add XML here. These are the 5 semi-structured formats that you can load the data into Snowflake. Okay, let's go and do some action on the web UI, limited data loading, right? So I have a file called EMP.
Shikhar, what about the fixed width files? Are we not
That's
entertaining here?
fixed width means how do you separate them?
By a length, we can separate at the stage, right? We
Yeah,
can give a
but
format.
how does? Yeah, but tell me the format.
Uh,
You should
okay,
have
so
the fixed width is something like 300 characters you're trying to load. That means first 10 characters will go into the first one, and then the next 10 characters will go into the next column. Those kind of things, right?
yes, correct.
So that fixed width file, I think it cannot be done. You can still do it, but you have to use an alternative mechanism. Let's look at it.
Okay,
I'll let you know. Don't worry. Hold on your thoughts.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
So when you come here, right now, I have a file called emp.csv. Okay, there are too many emps with me. I have emp. Where is emp1? Yeah, this is the emp.cs. I'm just opening it. So I have a header and it's comma separated. Each field is separated by a comma, and then I have about 16 lines in it. So I'm going to load this table. So before loading the table, right, I should have the table. So I have a table called emp.txt. I'll send you this so that it becomes easy for you to take care of the emp.txt. If you look at it, right, so insert create table emp and then inserting data into emp. Okay, so I'll just create or replace. This session doesn't have a current database.
Table in
Yes,
which database?
I am using SFDB and the schema is SF schema. Okay.
DemoDB. Okay.
Yeah, I created database of my own SFDB
Okay.
and SF schema. I did not use any of the DemoDB that was given to me. Okay, and then I'm trying to insert data into table.
Okay.
So
Okay.
okay, when you the other advantages of Snowflake, right? So normally in any other databases, each insert statement is individual. You have to have insert statement individually. Here you can write multiple statements underneath each of them by separating a comma. Okay, and this is another record. So you just
Okay.
multiple statements and then insert into EMP. So it tells you, see, 14 records got inserted. Okay, select star from EMP. Okay, I am gonna delete the data. Delete star from EMP. So delete from EMP, 14 records got deleted. Now I'm gonna load this CSV file into the table. How do we, using the limited data set, the ad hoc loading that I told you, right? So you go to databases
Yes.
and then SFDB and identify the table that you want to load, and then you'll see the load table command here. Click on load table and then compute WH. Next, so you can select files. You can select multiple files or single file. emp.csv. Okay, and if you want to load from external stage like S3 buckets or something like that, right? That is the one. Okay, and then next. So what is the file format that you are trying to use? You can create a file format if you don't want, if you don't have them. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, and I'll just give test because I've already created my CSV format, test format, and which is a schema that you are trying to create, SF schema, and format type is CSV. You see here, right? CSV, JSON, XML, Avro, ORC, Park. If it is CSV, you can have what kind of separator is it? And if you say none, right? It doesn't have any separator. And how do you load? It's a different thing. So you have comma, vertical bar, tab, none, other. If you have any special character like tilde, you can use that. So let's take comma and then compression. By default, whenever you try to load data, right, it compresses the data. Data that stores in Snowflake is compressed, and they have very good compression mechanism. Okay, so auto. If not, you have different. Auto is gunzip. You have deflate, raw deflate, broadly, the standard, none. If you don't want to compress it, you can say none. Auto is by default gunzip. Okay, and row separator. How is the row being separated? And then header lines to skip. I have one header, right? If you look at the, this is not the one. I have one header, right? I want to skip this. Okay, and null string. How do you want to handle null strings? By default, it's // I can just say null. Okay, we'll see more of null things later. Okay, and then I create a format, test format, and it uses this particular test format for parsing the file and loading the data into the table. Okay, and then next. So these are the loading options, and these loading options you can use them while you're trying to load from SnowSQL or loading from worksheet, anything. So these loading options are mandatory. And as I told you, right, you at the whenever a dialog opens, you have a command called show SQL. You can click on it and it will show the SQL of it. See, I told you, right, there are two-step process: putting the data into a stage and then copying into a table, right? By default, it's doing the same thing. When you are doing, right, this is the ad hoc way of loading from web UI. When you are doing manually, then you have to first put the file and then you have to run the copy command. You have to manually type that. Okay, I copied it. Okay, so put file emp.csv, and normally when you do the web UI way of loading things, right, it puts into table stage. You see, right? But the notation that we have learned It's different than the notation that Snowflake uses. It internally uses something, so it's a different thing. But you understand, if somebody asks you which particular stage is being used when you're trying to use from web UI, it is table stage. So normally whenever we'll run the put commands, copy commands, all kinds of scenarios. For now, try to understand that we are trying to do it from web UI. And when you look at the SQL, right, this SQL won't work when you try to execute in the SnowSQL command line. This is only internal to Snowflake. Whenever web UI, I'm just showing you the SQL, but normally when we are trying to push the data into a table stage, we have to use put file colon slash slash file name and at the rate of percentage emp. We'll see that exit. Hold on your thoughts, and then copy into the table. And this is the file format that we have created, right? Test format on error. When we say here, when we are looking at this one, right? This is the first option. Do not load any data in the file. That means if there exists an error, if something when you're trying to load and if there is an error, right? Then what should we do? Do not load any data in the file. Okay, that is what it is. On error, skip file. And purge is equal to true is means if the data is successful, if the data is loaded successfully, it goes and deletes the file. Okay, it deletes the file from the stage. Okay, and then the second, stop loading, roll back and return the error. Let's look at this. If you are trying, if it is only one file, skip file means it skips files. If you are trying to load 10 files, then it skips one of the files that has error. And if you're trying to run this command, right, test form on error abort statement, that means, for example, if you're trying to load 5 files and your scenario is like you want to load all 5 of them or nothing of them, that means there might be dependent data, there might be use case where you want to load all of them or nothing. So when you just skip file, only the file which has errors will skip. If you're trying to load 5 files and one file has an error, the other 4 files will be loaded automatically. And if you're trying to use abort statement, all of them are nothing, right? Then if you say abort statement, all the files will be loaded, or if not, it aborts the statement. All of them, it doesn't, no transactions are happen. Everything is cancelled. You're killing the entire thing. That is called the abort statement. Okay. And then the third one, do not load any data in the file if the error count exceeds. That means you are trying to have a threshold. That means if any of the file has more than 2 errors, don't load the data, or 3 errors, don't load the data. Show SQL. Okay, on error, skip file to purge is equal to true. That means it goes and skips if there are more than 2 errors, it skips that particular file. If not, it automatically loads the data into it. Then continue loading valid data from the file. That means if you have some data that is valid, something is not valid, just load whatever is valid. Okay, and then show SQL, it says on error continue. Okay,
Do we get the rejects in this fourth case?
rejects, no, you have, there is another way to get the rejects. We will talk about, there are a lot of exercises that I'm going to show you. I'll cover all the scenarios that whatever you have in your mind. So first try to understand how things work, then we look at the use cases of it. Okay. So on error continue. So here I am telling on error continue loading valid data. Load. The first part, encrypting the files, staging the files. See, we talked about encryption in transit, encryption in rest. That means while it's pumping the data, pushing the data into cloud. So where did we load the data now? Into the cloud. Where was your file? In the on-prem. From on-prem, you load it onto the cloud. And before loading, what did you do? It encrypted the entire file, and then it put the data into the file, and then it copied into the table. See, 15 rows done. If you go back and query the, because we already deleted, right? Select star for me. I say 15 rows here.
So till staging area, now the data is loaded.
No, now the data is the, so whenever you look at the command, right, there are two-step process. First, it put the data into the staging table staging, and from there, using the copy command, it loaded into the table.
Okay.
So both of them happen when you load in the web from the web UI, right? Both of them will happen simultaneously. But when you're trying to do that, right, you have to do manually.
And the stage is always mandatory. We cannot skip it.
Yeah, stage is always mandatory when you're trying to
Uh,
load.
Shekhar, Shekhar,
Mhm,
here the question is, you have extracted the data from source to staging table till now by using the put command.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
So once the data is resided in the staging area, then you are
Mhm.
going to load the data into Snowflake. It means
Yes.
till now we have loaded the data into staging area. By using
No.
copy command, we are getting the
Yes.
staging to Snowflake.
Perfect. We are loading from staging area to Snowflake using copy command. Put command will help you to put your file from
Sta-
on-prem to cloud.
okay.
Where is your stage? Stage is in the cloud,
Staging
right?
in
Where did you?
cloud.
Yeah, cloud. So you're trying to push your from on-prem file to the cloud.
Yes.
Are we clear?
Yep.
Okay. Now let's come back. How do we put the file? So if you want to clear the screen, right? In SnowSQL, what is the command?
Where is the stage is coming to picture? Actually, we loaded into all data into CSV file.
No,
Then
but
we
no, yeah, that is true. But when I
we
showed
are
you, right?
loaded into Snow data, right? Whenever you
Is it?
use that is from stage from cloud, right?
Yeah. So whenever you load a file using web UI, or if you're trying to do manually, I'll show you how to do manually. But whenever you're trying to load a file using web UI, this
Hmm.
is how it does. It automatically puts into a stage and then runs the copy command. This is the SQL that we extracted from that particular dialog box, right?
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
file into so and so and then copy into so and so. First it puts into a stage, and from there it copies into a table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we clear?
So yeah, then the transaction is over. The data is
Yeah.
resided into cloud. Snowflake.
And the data that it sits in the
But
table is also encrypted. That is
Yeah.
encryption in rest. The data that that is in the employee table is also encrypted. Only whenever you issue a SQL statement, it decrypts it and shows you the data in a human readable format.
Shekhar, actually,
Mhm.
we loaded the data from the CSV table and then we copy it to Snow. But we need to check the data before sending it to the Snow, Snow, Snowflake, right? Where we can
Well,
check that one. That is like stage. In stage, whether data is there or not, whether
yeah.
you
I'll come there. I'll come there. I'll give you all the details. Okay.
okay.
So let's now we have seen the web UI way of loading, right? Now when we do manually, I'll give you all the details. The first part is right now. If I want to load the emp.csv file into the emp table, what should I do first?
Create a table.
First we need to create the staging table.
The table is already there. EMP we have, right? I want to load
Yeah.
in the same EMP table.
Then we need to
Then
use the put command to
stage,
place the file.
Yes. Put
create a
command.
stage
Huh?
and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
stage is
we
already
already used
show stages. We have stages already. Now we guys are talking. For the first 15 minutes or half an hour, nobody was speaking anything. Okay. Good. That. Glad. So I have this stage, my stage, right? Now list at the rate of my stage.
some disturbance is there.
Yeah, Dhanalakshmi, whenever you try to speak, I see a lot of noise. Is there any problem with your handset or audio connection, please? And if you want to, you can ping me in the chat as well. If you cannot talk to me, right? You can
Yeah,
just ping
okay.
me in the chat. Yeah, I can answer you as well. Okay. So now put, and this particular put command, right? Snowflake is not, most probably it's not case sensitive, but there are some keywords that they you have to be careful about. There are only very minimal keywords that it create it looks at the case sensitiveness of it. If I say put file colon slash slash and see at the rate of my stage, where am I loading it? My stage. See, this file should be in a lowercase. It's case sensitive. The file only you have to write in a lowercase, and the other part is right. So see, I have a emp.csv. It by default it compressed it .emp.csv.gz, and then the size, target size is 50% compressed, uploaded to the cloud. So if I see list at the rate of my stage, right? I see this file. And if I want to delete this file, right, I can use remove rm or remove at the rate of, where is this file? In my stage. And if I say this one, right, it removes the entire stage. This is gone. Okay. And if I want to put this particular thing in a folder, so only file is a case sensitive, it should be in lower letters, and the folder name should not have any spaces. Okay, make sure the folder name doesn't have any spaces. At the rate of my stage slash data load, if it's a list at the rate of my stage, right, see data load, it create another folder underneath the my stage, and the file is now underneath this. If you want to remove this, remove rm, you can use remove rm at the rate of
Shekhar, is there any way to like see the content of the file data from here?
yeah, hold on, I'll come there. There are a lot of things that we are going to do. Hold on. Okay, so if I want to put again, I can just put the file. If you want to remove, I can remove. So create or replace temporary stage, my temp stage. Okay, I can put this file into my temp stage.
Shekhar, this put command will directly put in the Snowflake, right?
Cloud. Yes, cloud.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, The same thing. You can do all kinds of stuff with this put command. So if I don't want to put into a directory kind of thing, I can just say my stage. It puts into my stage. And if you want to put it into user stage, how do we do that? How do we represent user stage?
Tilde.
Tilde. Mm, yeah.
Is at the rate of tilde. See emp.csv.gz at the rate of tilde/emp. See, two files are removed. And you can create the same thing like data load. See, data load and then emp.csv. Okay. See, I removed the entire thing. Okay. Just hold on a second, please.
I can't hear you, Shikhar. You're talking something.
Data load is a folder. Whenever you want to create a folder, right? You can create a folder, data load, dates. Whenever you're trying to load, right? You see, this is a folder. Okay. Normally, whenever you organize in a real-time scenario, right? You load data every day. So you'll have a folder every day. Underneath that folder, you'll have many kind of. You want to organize things in a different way, right? So that's where you can use different folders.
Kind of date partition, something
Date
like date.
partitioning your data sets. Yes,
Yeah.
perfectly. Yes, correct. That's what it is. Okay. Now, if I want to load it into, and the other part of Snowflake, right? There is another thing called. Let me go ahead and then show you where is my Snowflake installed. See, user profile, right? Users, Dell PC, and SnowSQL. And there is another thing called history. This maintains the history of all the SQL commands that you have used, not the results, only the SQL command that you have used. Edit with Notepad. Okay. The first date is 2020-10-19. From there, whatever the command that I have used, right? It's all there until the last command. Remove at the rate of data load. So
Similar
you
case, we
can,
can see in your workspace also their history command is there. Tab
yes,
is there,
that's all.
right?
Yes,
UI.
yes. Yes, you can history, you go to the history and then it shows you all the sequels for 14 days of data. And
The similar case here as well.
similar things, right? But here in SnowSQL, right, when you type something, put and then give space and give up arrow, it goes and gets you from the history. What are the previous command, like a Linux environment, right? VI, you if you want to look at the other SQL command similar to that you have. You can get it from the history, right? The same way you can get it from the history. Any SQL statement that I have written before. Select. I'll say $1. Okay. All the files that I have written before. Okay. Now I have put the file into user stage. I have put the file into, how do you put the file into table stage?
How to put the table stage by using @ symbol.
Yes, yes, at the rate of %emp. List at the rate of %emp. See, this is what. So you can load, you can put in any particular stage you want. From there, you can load into the table. Okay, this is the first part of it. And now, how do we see the contents of the file? We can see the content. How do we see the contents of a stage? By using the list command. How do we see the contents of the file? So let's say list at the rate of my temp stage. Okay, select $1. You don't have the column names here, right? You don't know the column names. $1, $2, $3 from at the rate of my temp stage slash, what is the name of the file? So what do you see here?
So dollar parameters, these are like
Yeah,
unzipping that file, encrypted file.
yeah. So whatever the file that you have loaded to the stage, you are able to read them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you can all the way. You can do a lot of transformations in the stage environment as well. $4. We have 8 columns.
Three is missing there.
Okay, and then we have the header here. So when you are trying to load the data, you have to skip the header, right? So that's where the file format comes into the picture. Now if you want to read this, right, you can create a file format and then we can parse this data and all this stuff. So if you guys think this is too much for you, we can take a break or we can stop it. We can continue in the next class. The next class
Uh,
is,
Shekhar, suppose that we want to skip the header from the command line itself. Is there any way?
and then you have to use the file format.
Okay.
No, you have to tell how it has to be parsed, right?
Yeah.
So
Fine.
that's how so now we will talk about file formats and everything.
Okay.
So if you guys want to have a break and then go for half an hour, I'm okay. We can have a break for 10-15 minutes and then we can finish these file formats and data loading to some extent. But I have to show you many scenarios. Whatever happens in the real time, what are the things that they ask you in the interview questions. So there are about, it takes one entire day, morning and evening session to finish this data ingestion.
Yeah, we'll take a 10 minutes break and we'll come back. I don't know about others.
Yeah, yeah. If you guys are okay, we can take a break for 10-15 minutes and
Yeah,
then
fine.
we can.
How long it will take, Shekhar, this one
This
up to date?
session, it's gonna take one more session. I have many scenarios that needs to be covered up, but I can cover up to some extent in a half an hour. How do you create file formats? How do you parse the file? How do you do transformation in this stage before loading, and then how to load the data? Okay, these are the scenarios that I'm going to show you. Okay, so now the time is about 6:35. Can we meet at 6:40, 6:45 or 6:50?
Yeah, okay.
6:50 is okay, guys. We'll just go ahead for half an hour and then we'll take a break.
Or else, okay, Shekhar.
It's up to you guys. If you want to, then today, so you won't have a class the next week, and then next Saturday, Sunday, we'll have. So the first week, right? I did not push you guys to a marathon stretch, and next Saturday and Sunday, we'll have to stretch a little bit. 2 hours at least in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Okay. Do you guys want to take a break and then reconvene back, or do you want to call it a day and then let's meet next Saturday?
I'm not sure, Shekhar,
Or if you,
how
yeah,
about others.
yeah.
But we have, it's a, we need to recap all those things. That's what I'm.
Okay. And the other thing, right? If you guys, all of them are collectively okay, then I can have some time in the weekdays as well, 1 or 2 weekdays, so that at 7 o'clock in the week, because Monday I have a stand up I cannot do, or Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? 2 days at 7 o'clock in the week. If you guys are okay, then we can do that. If not, we'll just continue on the weekends as well. It's all up to you guys. You
No,
take it.
that would be better, Shekhar, because on weekends, if we continuously listen the sessions, right, on
Mm,
weekdays we also attend office. We don't get the
mm.
time for practice actually,
Okay.
but only it has because of some people requested, we agreed for weekend classes.
Hmm.
Now I don't think we'll get a time for what you say, doing practice and all.
Okay. So then you guys had to guide me or tell me how we can proceed with the program. So if you want 2 days in the week, I can give you, or we can just continue with the same weekend program. Weekdays, you can have time to work on it and all this stuff.
Yeah, Shekhar, Shiva here. Can you make it on Saturday, Sundays, 7 o'clock for morning? Afternoon is fine for me, but morning little bit tough to join to
Yeah,
EST hours.
you mean 7 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
I have Srihari who is attending from New Zealand, right? I don't know which time. 7 o'clock is fine with you, Srihari?
yeah.
I think so. What time would be in New Zealand? 7 o'clock. No, he did not join anyway. That's fine.
Srihari
Seven,
joined actually.
No, there are two Sriharis. My name is Srihari Krishna.
yeah,
So
there is another
I am in India.
yeah, there is another guy who is in US. Sorry, in New Zealand. So 7 o'clock should be okay. That should be fine. So
Yeah, for him,
Saturday we can have
morning is fine, but afternoon, now it's like midnight for him. Evening,
yeah,
7 o'clock.
it's evening. So he wanted the class at 4 o'clock. So and then for the first day, right? So I did not push everybody. So 4:30 would be the best time on Sunday, and Saturday 4:30. Morning we can have at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, that's
That
fine.
should be okay.
No,
And
Shekhar, at least
mhm.
5 o'clock. Evening.
5 o'clock, yeah, I'll ask him to stretch a little bit. 5 o'clock should be okay then. Let's see. I'll talk to him personally and see how we can.
Morning 7 o'clock and evening IST 5 o'clock.
Yeah, that should be okay, I
5
think. Yeah.
o'clock means New Zealand night 11:30 12.
Yeah, it's very late for him. So at least He wanted us at 4 o'clock, and we can make it at least 4:30. I think 4:30 should be okay. Okay. Let me talk to
Please,
him and see. Yeah.
yeah, please decide and tell me before. Once the morning session completed, please give me details so that we can.
Go through the recordings and all this stuff. That normally happens. The moment the session is done, right? I'll send you the slide decks, and we'll send you the recordings and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So for now, today we'll just call it a day, and then we will convene on Saturday morning 7 o'clock. Is that fine?
Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So I'll send you the slide decks and then the recordings as well. Then we can reconvene on next Saturday morning 7 o'clock. Okay.
Okay, Shekhar.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.